Welcome back to another episode of our Career Partners Coffee Club. In our last episode, we talked about careers in the classroom and how there are a variety of ways that students can make connections between what they're learning in the classroom and how that relates to careers, and various ways that instructors can further incorporate or further help students make aware of how what they're learning in the classroom relates to careers. For today's episode, I want to spend just a couple of minutes talking about how students can connect what they're doing outside of the classroom with careers. We know that our students are highly engaged in a whole host of activities outside the classroom, and that could look different for every student. So perhaps a student wants to engage in a research opportunity with a faculty member, or maybe they do apply for and get accepted to an internship program. Or perhaps they are volunteering through the Rochester Center for Community Leadership and they're involved in the Rochester community, or perhaps their communities back in their hometown. Students may also have an on-campus job, perhaps through federal work study program, or they're working part-time off campus. And maybe there's a student who is in student athletics as a student athlete, or perhaps they're an RA. There are so many things that our students are engaged in, and they may not always see the connections between what they're doing outside of the classroom and how that relates to their careers. And the reality is they are developing really critical, important skills that we know employers and graduate schools are looking for in college graduates. So I want to very briefly pull up the college competencies for you. If you haven't heard of these or if you haven't seen them, these came about through a survey a few years back from the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And they surveyed a wide variety of employers for the main competencies or skills that they're looking for in college graduates when they're seeking to hire them, and grad schools as well as were part of this. And a list of very common ones came together. And what the University of Rochester did was we partnered with, I think it was upwards of 30 different departments and units on our campus. And we personalized these competencies to the University of Rochester campus and experience. And so what you see are all the variety of competencies that students can and do develop during their time as a University of Rochester student, whether that is critical thinking and problem solving, which we know as an RA has to happen on a frequent basis, right? As they're problem solving situations and maybe conflicts with some of their residents. Intercultural and global fluency, as students are interacting with a very diverse student body, they're gaining an understanding and appreciation for differences and being able to work with people who are different from them. Leadership experiences. This can come from perhaps the Medallion Society, students who are engaging in the Medallion Society work and developing their leadership competencies. Oral and written communication, that could happen not only in their coursework, but outside of their coursework in a whole host of ways. Maybe a student is in the debate club, that's a great example. Or maybe you have a student who is on an executive board of a student organization, and maybe they're responsible for promoting some events for their organization, and they have to utilize their written communication skills to promote that activity. And teamwork. You could find this in an on-campus job. You can find this in a club. You can find this in so many different ways in the co-curricular experiences that students have access to. So I just wanted to draw your attention to this because whether you in your specific department or unit have opportunities available for students or are working with students perhaps as student employees, I want you to be thinking about, what are the competencies students are developing as they're interacting with you in your unit, and help them make those connections with what they're doing, what the skills what skills are being built from those experiences. What that does by helping them draw those connections is students can more confidently speak to when they're asked in an interview, when they're part of a job or graduate school application process, they can directly speak to where and how they develop those competencies, because our students are equipped. But sometimes we just need to help them draw the connections and see how what they're doing outside of the classroom as well as inside directly connects to career and career preparation. So that's it for today. Thanks for joining, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. From my home to yours, take care.